I'm going to talk about me and God educating me about black people. Their turtles need to be educated about black people when they're born in the Oklahoma Panhandle, live in Enid, Oklahoma, and Milton, Kansas, and never really see a black person. Don't know exactly how that happened, but if I saw a black person, I have no memory of doing so, except maybe at Milton in a program where we played basketball in Wichita. I wonder if we didn't play against a black kid or two there, but I don't remember that we did. When I grew up, there were just no blacks around. And the talk I overheard is just a little fellow. Don't even remember what age I first began to hear the word nigger. The word black wasn't used. It was that dirty name, that N-word. And nothing good was said in connection with that word. Can't remember any specifics, but I did know that they weren't good people. They were dangerous. They were, well, dumb. Dangerous. And if there was an educated one, he was the worst kind of that N-word. Because there's nothing worse than that, a smart aleck one that thinks he knows something. They're just trouble causers, nothing but. And I heard a lot of crude jokes about blacks wanting to vote down south after Reconstruction. Didn't give it any thought. It was just stuff I heard, just stuff I was aware of. I didn't see many movies, don't remember ever even reading a magazine as a kid. The books I read, I don't remember anything about blacks at all. Guess I read the wrong books. I do know that the one or two movies I did see and the voices I heard on television representing black people, kind of bumbling, particularly men big and rough and tough and coarse. Women fat. I don't remember how old I was before I saw a picture of a black woman in a movie or wherever I was seeing them. There wasn't a big fat mammy, but a pleasant person, a nice person. The black ladies were portrayed a little better than the black men. And I don't remember anything specific, but I remember I was aware that you gotta be careful, kids. And women, you gotta be careful. Those black men, they're dangerous. They'll get you and do bad things to you. Well, get into high school. Well, not even in high school. I'm in the middle grades, our 7th and 8th grade team. As near as I remember, we played somewhere around 40 to 42 games that year. Lost a couple. One of them was at Anthony, Kansas. To Anthony in the finals. We had a boy, Leonard Miles, that, ooh, he was good. And the rest of us were a fair supporting cast. Well, the Anthony team had two boys playing that were, well, black, although they were red-headed. But they were black and everybody knew it. And they were good. They weren't necessarily the stars, but when they were in the game, they were good. Well, then I'm a track participant in high school and go to these big meets, and Linwood Sexton of East High School was the fastest man I'd ever seen and the most gorgeous physical specimen I'd ever seen at that time. He'd win his races, be ahead by a step or two in the first 15 or 20 steps, and then he'd just kind of coast and roll his eyes, and we all got a kick out of seeing those whites show up so much in that black mouth, and he'd be happy and smiling in those white teeth. Gee, he was a nice guy, and so good. And then he goes on to Wichita State and makes the football team right off, and is a star running back. And Wichita's going to play Tulsa, and Tulsa says, no, you're not bringing any black man on our field. It's not done. Had a heck of a time. I remember reading about it. And then ended up, I guess, compromising and playing on a neutral field so that the Wichita State team could play and not just the white members of the team. Well, that was a pretty good introduction to knowing a little bit about the blacks. And my education would continue. I didn't know anything about it until I was in the Army the second time, but I found out then that back here in Kansas there was a rule, not an official rule I'm sure on any books, but a rule that was enforced, that black man, don't you let the sun set on your face. Or black family, don't let the sun set on your face in this town, or you may not see the sun rise. Legend has it that people would help the blacks get to somewhere else so they didn't have to have this awful thing happen in their town, but they couldn't stay overnight. Think about it. The education of this ignorant turtle was one to be prejudiced. That's part one. We'll get back to this.